You don't have to recognize the chemical symbol for methamphetamine to recognize its dangers. All you need is to hear the authorities who have to deal with the drug and to the users struggling to escape its clutches. Our cover story is reported now by Jim Acosta.
It's a drug that's so destructive, the downward spiral into addiction is evident in simple police mugshots. It's a drug that can be made with ingredients from the local pharmacy and cooked in home labs, putting whole neighborhoods in danger.
Oh, I can smell it. I can smell it. Get your mask on. Mask on.
It's 3 times as powerful as cocaine, and just one hit can give a 12-hour high.
We'll be hearing from you.
It is methamphetamine, known as meth for short, and now it's being called an epidemic.
Meth was my fix-all. I felt invincible, like I could do anything. I could talk all night long.
Meth did that for you?
Mm-hmm.
Carla George is a recovering addict who was hooked on meth for 12 years.
It was great in the beginning, but it progressively got worse. It got to be where I couldn't function without it. I made really poor choices when I was on it. You know, I have 3 children, and my 2 daughters, I used through both of my pregnancies with them. I've had guns pointed to my head. I've been in other risky, unsafe situations, and my children have been with me through these occurrences.
You went to jail?
A lot. Yeah, I went to jail 42 times.
42 times?
42 times.
Methamphetamine is not a new drug. It's been around for decades. A weaker version of today's meth was actually used by the federal government during World War II to keep American forces on the move. Over the years, you could find it in diet drugs. A key ingredient continues to be used in many cold medications. And even with today's newfound concerns, a government study shows that while 1.3 million Americans use meth, that's just a fraction of the number of people using pot or cocaine.
This is the Commerce City Police Department.
So why did a survey of the nation's counties last month find almost 60% of local officials declaring meth as their biggest drug problem? Methamphetamine first appeared in the West. So we went to Oregon's state capital of Salem, where officials have learned a few lessons about the meth epidemic.
When you talk to somebody who's used a variety of drugs or been addicted to a number of drugs, they will tell you that the meth high is a cut above the rest. It's a better thing.
Jay Wersher has worked with drug offenders for 26 years, and he manages Oregon's child welfare addiction services.
Is this an epidemic, or is this just hype?
We have more meth addicts than we've probably ever had. Methamphetamine is a drug that has a higher addictive liability than just about anything we've seen. It's a fact that methamphetamine is the most dangerous drug we've ever had in terms of child welfare and child safety. There's nothing as dangerous to kids as methamphetamine is.
Worse than crack?
Absolutely.
The drug is costing communities in ways never felt before. For one thing, home labs expose children to explosive chemicals, and meth addicts often sleep for days, leaving even babies to fend for themselves.
This is the most destructive drug ever known to us, more destructive than cocaine and heroin.
Salem Sheriff Raul Ramirez says his jail is filling up with meth users. Meth-related arrests in Oregon have doubled in the past 5 years. But Ramirez cautions the impact of the drug can't be measured in just numbers. It's the toll it takes on users and everyone around them.
You can see the devastation that's occurring out there. These individuals are in jail now. A lot of them have lost their family, their homes, their jobs, their self-respect of who they are.
Take 29-year-old Wendy Webster.
I have been coming in and out of jails and institutions since I was probably 13 because of my drug use.
I noticed the tattoos on the back of your neck. What are
These are her son's names and birth dates.
And when is the last time you spent any time with them?
My 7-year-old got taken when I was in prison in 2000.
He was permanently taken away from you?
Yeah, he was permanently taken from me.
When she's released this time, Wendy insists she's getting treatment to stop for good.
I'm so tired of coming in and out of here. I have no life. I want to have a home someday. I want to have a family someday.
That isn't the story you'll hear from Jose Estrada, who says he's realistic about what will happen when he's released.
Do you think you'll start using again?
To tell you the truth, I ain't gonna lie to you, probably, but, you know, I don't want to.
You probably will start using.
That's just the truth, you know? I ain't gonna lie, you know?
There might be folks there who think the answer is to lock them up and throw away the key.
Well, and that is not the answer. And we've learned that over the years, that it has to be a balanced approach. You have to have enforcement and the accountability piece there, but you also need to have treatment as part of that effort to try to address the problem.
Drug treatment is often unavailable behind bars. Either way, Carla George says it's a hard place to clean up your act.
It worked for me to get clean time, but it didn't teach me anything I needed to know. Because what happened when I went to prison is I was in there with everybody who's like me.
When you think of somebody who's a meth addict, you typically think of the media stories. You think of crime, and you think of child abuse, you think of child neglect, and then you meet a human being who is a meth addict, and who you meet is a human being.
I was so far down in my life at that time that nothing else mattered but the drug itself.
When you look at your children now, they're survivors too.
Mm-hmm.
Are they a little more mature
Oh, yeah.
for their age?
Oh, yeah.
They've seen a lot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Commercial, go.
To see what the drug can do to families, we followed two parole officers as they made surprise home visits with meth users.
Can you show us that, just a quick tour? We won't wake her up.
Our first stop, a family on the edge.
Storage shed, and we haven't had a chance to go do the laundry yet.
David, do you mind if I look in the refrigerator?
No, go ahead.
Is there any alcohol?
Nope.
The kids sleep in here then?
Yes.
Okay.
The parents were arrested for violating their probation after our visit.
Nathan, do you want to give us a quick tour?
But notice the difference at the next home, where an addict has turned the corner.
And so now you're trying to put everything back together again.
Yeah, and it's been a lot of hard work, like in the last month. All the work's finally paying off.
It's a social disease more than it is anything right now, and it's spreading.
Oregon's Governor Ted Kalingoski took aim at his state's meth problem earlier this month by signing the first law in the nation requiring a prescription for pseudoephedrine, a key ingredient in over-the-counter decongestants. It's also what's needed to make methamphetamine at home.
The pharmaceutical companies can make these stuff without pseudoephedrine. I think the federal government has to tell the pharmaceutical companies, stop this.
In fact, one drug maker, Pfizer, has already come out with Sudafed PE, which contains no pseudoephedrine. Still pending is federal legislation that would control access to pseudoephedrine in cold medications. All the same, most experts agree that it really comes down to treatment. Oregon recently increased funding for meth addiction therapy, but fewer than 20% of users who need treatment actually get it.
So what stands in your way between graduation and where you are today?
I believe I have some financial things to get in order.
Which brings us to this man, Dennis Graves, a non-judgmental Salem judge who runs a different sort of court, a drug court.
I really didn't deserve a chance, just like I appreciate you guys giving me the chance.
Take care.
Thank you, Your Honor.
One where defendants are offered a chance to try treatment instead of jail.
I can tell you that women are going to go on having babies, people are going to go on using meth, and the question is what we're going to do about it. If we continue to incarcerate them and not treat their addiction, they will return from their incarceration the same addicts that they were. I'm glad that you have some confidence in yourself now.
I do.
When somebody uses, it's a ripple effect. It affects everybody around them. The same thing happens when they get clean and stop using and get into recovery. It's a ripple effect.
Carla George has been drug-free for 9 years now. She's regained custody of her children and found a new job, working with meth addicts.
I love being able to give back. I've taken from the community for a really long time. My life is really full and really busy, and I'm really grateful.
She, too, is one of the faces of meth, one of hope.